Late last year, the former and current State Department directors met with the Office of Inspector General. An OIG investigation found that high-level State Department officials at times brought pressure to halt or influence investigations. While the pair walked away with 3 computers but left silver coins and silver bars, Schulman suspects money was not on their minds.
It is suspicious that they kept coming back.
Now, Dallas police are investigating, but the attorneys also contacted the FBI. The FBI because of what's on those computers, including information about federal agents the firm represents, and if it's as Schulman suspects, then there's more than a felony. This could also be a political crime.
All right, folks, welcome back to the Steve Malzberg Show. Joining us now is Cary Schulman, and he is the attorney that you heard his voice on that soundbite from the report on Fox TV in Dallas. We played you that whole report yesterday on the show. His firm, among others, represents a State Department whistleblower, and the offices were burglarized, and the pair caught on video, and seemingly they didn't care. Very specific in what they took. And Cary, welcome to the show, sir. Thank you very much.
Well, thank you for having me.
Well, I think this is huge, and you know, I know that given our media, if this were the other way around, if a Republican had been the head of the State Department, if Hillary Clinton were a Republican and she was who she was and she was going to run for the presidency in 3 years or whatever, and this was going on, this would be huge. But nobody's talking about it for the most part, unfortunately. But I'm not going to let it pass. So talk about who your client is, what she's alleged, and you know, and where you are in the process and what was taken.
Okay, we represent Aurelia Fidedison. She is retired December 31st of last year. She retired. And after her retirement, the Office of Investigator General put out a report that was involving an inspection team assessment of diplomatic security. And when the report came out, they had whitewashed it, taken out all of the information about higher level officials in the department, basically halting federal investigations, which in our opinion is a felony. These were political appointees and others that were stopping these investigations for numerous different reasons. 8 of those were listed in the big memo, the October 23rd memo that's been so public, but those were only 8 of the big instances that were identified in the memo. There was many more. And so we represent her. Law enforcement came to her house to harass her, camp out, get her to sign documents that would probably incriminate herself, to prevent her from disseminating the documents, and she hired us at that time.
Is this the woman we saw on CBS or one of the networks not too long ago? They did a report on this?
Yes,
okay.
June 11th, CBS broke that story.
Okay, we played that report. I just want to make sure it was the same woman. Okay, so go ahead. So keep going with the chronology here.
So we began representing her. I had a lot of dealings with the Office of Investigator General attorneys at that time. They were trying to intimidate her. They were trying to intimidate me. And essentially, it didn't stop us. We provided all the information, of course, to Congress and have been, very vocal about it. And we've received an overwhelming amount of support from employees in the Department and Diplomatic Security saying it's about time. My firm has gotten an overwhelming amount of potential other whistleblowers with similar type activity and knowledge and information. And so it's clear to me that we have a serious, major problem in the Department of State at the highest levels of an atmosphere of lawlessness, complete disregard for the Constitution, complete disregard for civil rights and people's rights, and an arrogant attitude that they can do whatever they want to do, it's a big problem.
Do you believe that, well, let me ask you this. Who do you believe, without names, because you may not know names, although we see their faces, but names aside, who do you think is responsible for this break-in?
Well, I don't know who's responsible, but the facts are they broke into our office, then they came back Saturday night, many hours later, and they broke in only to our office out of the whole building. by going through a vacant suite next to us and then punching a hole through into our conference room. Then they come back Saturday night, and you can see on the tape at 8:30 Saturday night, they come back, they walk in, within a few minutes, they walk out with a small box. The girls got a small box, and the guys got probably one computer. They got those boxes by dumping things out of in our office that were in the boxes, and then taking those boxes. Then the gentleman comes back alone at about 3:57 a.m. in the morning, Sunday morning, and he leaves 5 minutes later at 4:02 with one box. So it's clear to us that they're coming in, and they obviously didn't get something they wanted previously, and so they had to come back. That's what it appears to us.
Who do these people look like? I mean, you know, they appear like they're just people off the street dressed in T-shirts. No attempt to cover up their faces, which to me is pretty bizarre. What does that signal to you, if anything?
Well, you know, I don't know. You can look at it two ways. One is, do they turn their heads away from the camera as they walk by? As some people have suggested that they are a little more experienced than maybe I was originally giving them credit for. They seem to turn their heads away from the camera as they walk by. Some have suggested. Clearly, it appears to me that somebody else is orchestrating it, because they come in.
They bring back the stuff somewhere. They go through it, or someone goes through it. And look, I mean, this is a scenario that it appears to be. They don't have this, they don't have that. They go back in, but it appears like they know exactly where to go, where to look for it. I mean, did they tear your office apart, piece by piece, or did they pretty much know the area of where these things would be?
Well, I mean, clearly the computers were, on desks, and so that was easy. There was one locked file cabinet that they busted into, and there was blood left on the file cabinet.
Blood?
Yeah. So, they busted into it and obviously hurt themselves doing it.
All right, who's conducting, and we're talking to Cary Schulman here of Schulman and Mathias, law offices in Dallas, and their offices were broken into. They represent a State Department whistleblower. Who's investigating this now? Well,
I know the Dallas Police Department is investigating it. We also made a complaint to the FBI, and we did that based upon the fact that we felt that there might be a political motive for the crime.
And yeah, obviously, and you said that in the report, but still no FBI agents?
Well, no, we filed the report.
Okay.
And, the FBI generally doesn't, always tell you exactly what they're doing.
Okay.
Because, the Dallas Police Department, and it's only been not that long. And so I'm not quite sure what the agencies are doing, or if this is something the FBI is interested in investigating. Obviously, there's jurisdictional questions, and they'll have to evaluate that.
Two questions, sir, because we're running out of time. We only have less than a minute. Will your client or yourself be intimidated in any way, shape, or form, and does this affect your case at all?
No.
Okay.
It doesn't affect the case.
Number two, do you believe that somehow, somewhere, people in government, be it the State Department or not, had something to do with this?
I believe it's a possibility. It's certainly a viable possibility under the facts of this case. And let me just say, in 30 years of law enforcement, I've talked to people 30 years of law enforcement, have never seen in a commercial burglary people come back to the scene of the crime.
Listen, Cary, we'll stay on top of this, because I want to keep it. I want to inform the public, and I want to get to the bottom of it. If we had a fair media, do you agree that this would be all over the place?
I do.
Yeah.